Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for this webinar, where we're going to be discussing our new integration of our OANDA foreign exchange rates API connector that's now live on the Dell Boomi platform. We're excited that you all could join us. We're going to there'll be a few quick survey questions that go on during the actual presentation, so please answer those. Those are going to help us to inform us what types of customers are listening in and how we can support your needs. Also, if you have any questions, please you can send those via direct message during the webinar, and we'll address all the questions that you have at the end of the webinar. And since you are listening in today, and this is a new integration for us that we're excited to bring to market, we actually are going to be giving customers a discount on our OANDA FX Rates Data API of 20% if you sign up for our data prior to March 31st of this month. So we'll have more information on that, but if you essentially just mention that you've listened into the webinar, to our sales team, we will be granting you that discount. So first, we wanted to get started with introducing the team that's going to be here today on the call. I'll start with myself. I'm Greg Estradas. I'm the head of channel partnerships for our Solutions for Business team here at OANDA, and I will be discussing several components of the presentation and look forward to providing you an overview of this new partnership that we're launching.
Hi, this is AJ Remlinger. I'm the product manager here at OANDA Solutions for Business, and I'm here to answer all of your questions about the finer points of the API itself.
Hi, my name is Tomoro Nagase, and I am the head of customer experience team here at OANDA, and I'm here to answer any product or service related questions as well.
We also have Grady Drago, who's from Dell Boomi, who will be reviewing some of the Dell Boomi components of the presentation. I want to start with actually the agenda on what we're going to be discussing today. First, what we're going to be addressing from the OANDA side is really why do customers need foreign exchange rates data? How do they use it? And then we'll give you a little information on who OANDA is as a company and why we believe that our data is the best data that you can find out there. And then we will get into some more specifics around some of the common use cases that you might see within your organization for how you would utilize our rates data, as well as why we believe our data is the most accurate on the market, and get into a little bit of our accuracy statement, as well as how OANDA differentiates itself. Then we'll specifically get into the features of our exchange rates API, and we'll talk about our new connector on Dell Boomi and some of the relevant connectors that you can utilize and connect to with your Dell Boomi within the Dell Boomi platform. And then we're going to have Grady Drago from Dell Boomi is going to get into an introduction of Dell Boomi if you're not familiar with it, an overview of it, as well as how to set up your OANDA connector. And then we will get into a specific integration example of how you can integrate your Dell Boomi connector for SAP with the OANDA FX Rates connector. And then at the end, we'll get into questions and closing thoughts that come up during the presentation. So we first wanted to start with why a company would specifically need FX data. We work with several companies, thousands of companies actually. If you are a company that's operating globally and you're transacting internationally, you're going to need access to the most accurate foreign exchange rates data to feed into either your accounting and ERP system or potentially into your underlying product. For example, if you're in an advertising business that is dealing with budgets from different countries and different currencies, you could be an e-commerce site that's selling in various countries and geographies. So you need to understand that that the fluctuations in foreign currency in these countries can have an impact on your financials, and in order to do that, so you can operate effectively. In order to do that, you need to have accurate foreign exchange rates data. And that might sound a little easier than it seems. The FX market is actually very opaque. It's fast moving. and decentralized, and so that can lead to varied pricing across different sources. And if you do have inaccurate data or the data is unreliable, this can lead to potential problems, which I've listed here. You could have problems with your auditors, your tax authorities. You could actually potentially even damage your customer relationships. And so it's very important to have this accurate data. And so in order to get that accurate data, you need to look to a trusted provider of FX data that can deliver accurate data on a consistent basis so that you can avoid these issues and operate seamlessly. And that's really where OANDA comes in. We are the ones that can provide this data. A little bit about OANDA. We have been around for over 20 years. The company's been focused on foreign exchange rates data as well as services. And if you've actually worked in finance, you're probably familiar with OANDA. You may have been to our website to download a currency exchange rate. You potentially could have utilized our foreign exchange rates API to automate your FX data into your systems. So you could have come across us, but as you can see, we are trusted by some of the top names, top companies within their industries. On the slide at the bottom, you also see that the top accounting firms and tax authorities utilize our data to help them provide better services to their customers or to utilize internally. So what we're really going to focus on today is our exchange rates API, and that's where we launched the connector within the Dell Boomi platform. And so with that, it essentially enables you to leverage our API to automate your currency data directly into your ERP, which will be the most common use case. OANDA actually is, we have other services as well. One of the key things here is that we actually have a trading platform for individuals to trade currency within our platform. And so one of the key things we'll bring up later is that our data actually comes from that platform. We do leverage that platform to provide the best data that we can to our customers. We also offer a historical currency converter that if you're interested in downloading data into a CSV file, we offer that, as well as the payments through a partnership that we have with Western Union. The main focus, though, as I mentioned, will be our exchange rates API, and that's really where the Dell Boomi partnership is relevant. Okay, so why do we believe why do customers utilize OANDA? It's really a combination of these three things that we've highlighted. I mean, our data is accurate, and so we have a reputation of being a high quality rates provider, and the reason our data is accurate is because it's coming directly from our trading platform, and so we can ensure that it's high quality. We also, in cases where currencies might not be traded as frequently or might be less liquid, we have redundancy sources to fill gaps or inconsistencies across our data. We, several other major institutional providers utilize our data, and so that speaks to our reputation. The next is that we're very reliable. OANDA invests heavily in its technology. We have tier 3 level security and fully redundant servers to ensure that our data is reliable. As you can see here on the slide, we have a 99.9% uptime, so you're rarely going to have any gaps in the data that we provide. And then lastly, and this is really what this discussion today is about, is that we make it as easy as possible to integrate into our API. We have extensive technical documentation on how to integrate these rates, and we also partner with several companies to make it easier to connect to our API. And that's really what this partnership with Dell Boomi is about, and we're going to get into is we want to make it as easy for our customers to connect into our API. And so through the Dell Boomi partnership, we've developed a connector to be able to do that, to connect your systems directly into our API in a way that's easy and fast to do. So companies use our data, as I mentioned earlier, for various reasons. They might use it to integrate directly into their product, but what you're going to find in the cases you're probably going to be utilizing the data, the most common use case is going to be for accounting purposes. And so, a company is typically going to upload either a daily or a monthly foreign exchange rate into their general ledger, and that will connect directly into their ERP in order for them to reconcile their financials. So it's really about automating that process so that your systems and your processes are accurate. And for the folks that are using it, our API with respect to Dell Boomi, you're likely going to be connecting your ERP to Dell Boomi. But I will mention some other use cases as well and other types of connectors that you can connect to on a future slide. You might also be using the data for audit purposes, so you might want access to historical data to enhance your auditing process, or we see a lot of treasurers that are actually interested in using our real-time rates. So we just launched a real-time rates API. That data can be leveraged for finding a specific currency rate at a specific time of day in increments of up to 5 seconds, and customers will use it to market their hedging transactions. We're currently just launching the daily average, which is more the ERP use case within Dell Boomi, but likely in the future we'll have access to the real-time rates as well on Dell Boomi. So, one thing that's very important to OANDA being a provider of data is that we want to ensure that our data is accurate. And so we're so confident in the accuracy of our data that we've actually created an accuracy statement that really talks through how we source our rates and why we are the gold standard of foreign exchange rates. You can actually, this report's actually posted to our website if you're interested in getting to the specifics and learning more. And we actually will have a link to the document at the end of the presentation so that you can go on there and actually learn about why OANDA and how we source our rates and why they're the best. So in order to back that claim and in order to speak to why we feel our data is so accurate, you need to understand what it means to have accurate foreign exchange rates. And really a big part of that is that the FX market is very complicated. It's an over-the-counter market, and it's fragmented. And so the currency data that you're getting from different sources can vary quite a bit. Now, what sets us apart from our competition and differentiates OANDA is that we actually can procure the data directly from our trading platform. And so we actually see transactions that are occurring on a day-to-day basis. And it's coming directly from major participants in the interbank market. So having access to data and transactions that are occurring in the billions daily, we have a complete view of the tradable FX data set and on a real-time basis. So this is what really sets us apart. In addition to that, we really invest in making certain that we have redundancy in our data sources so that if there are strange occurrences in a currency or it doesn't trade as frequently as another currency, we have backup and redundant sources to make certain that we're providing the best data we can. So really, in summary, it's OANDA. We really feel that we can offer a true reflection of what's going on within the foreign exchange market. So in terms of, and that really speaks to our differentiation, as you can see on this slide. The biggest thing here is that we're not a rates aggregator. So we don't, rates aggregators typically going to construct their own accurate price. So it's an indicative one, and so it might not accurately reflect what's going on in the FX market, and it can actually lead to inaccurate prices and price spikes. OANDA actually is a market maker, not a rates aggregator. So we have the rates coming directly from our platform, as you can see here. They're being algorithmically determined from a total of 25 trusted and redundant sources. And so the key here is that our data is actually based on real transactions that are occurring in the FX market, and we're giving our customers access to that in an API format and delivering it so that they can have the best data within their systems on a regular basis that's consistent and accurate. So with that, that's a little bit about OANDA. I wanted to pass the baton over to AJ Remlinger, who's our product manager. He's going to walk you through the actual specific features of our exchange rates API, and then I'll circle back on how you can utilize that within Dell Boomi.
Thanks, Greg. As you mentioned, not only are we uniquely positioned to provide rates reflective of the entire market, but we also have one of the most complete FX data sets available, spanning 213 currencies and metals, with sources coming from over 25 central banks, as well as our proprietary OANDA exchange rates. In addition to that, our inventory for historical rates dates all the way back to 1990, and is available both via the API as well as through our proprietary web app, Historical Currency Converter. Would encourage you all to check that out also. Our API actually enables your ERP to consume bid, ask, and midpoint rates for daily averages, highs, and lows. You can also adjust those queries to call rates for period averages, such as weekly or monthly, just depending on what you need to keep your books right. Our daily average rates are calculated to reflect the 24-hour period ended midnight UTC, so that's 5 o'clock in New York, and these are available for your consumption no later than 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can see some more about the reliability on the right side of this slide. We have on-site servers, we have redundant servers. Our API does not really go down ever, as you would expect. And we do have dedicated internet connections for all of this, as well as being one of the most regulated foreign exchange rates providers in the marketplace by a number of different international bodies. Again, that's because we are a market maker and are held to a much higher standard than simply a rates aggregator.
So in terms of how you can utilize your Dell, if you're on the Dell Boomi platform, or if you're not and you're interested in signing up, what we're really excited about is to launch our FX Data API connector. And so it's now on the Dell Boomi platform. And Grady will get into the details of how it works and how to install it. But essentially what we're enabling here and we're excited about is that you can have access to any ERP, several different ERPs. These are just a few. But you have the ability to connect your ERP Dell Boomi instance to OANDA's FX Data API, this is just a few, but there's several others as well if you're not covered on this list. In addition to ERP, though, you're also able to connect to companies like Coupa for your procurement, or Anaplan and Host Analytics if it's EPM that you're interested in connecting to, or even Salesforce if you're interested in connecting our data into your CRM system. So we're giving you a variety of alternatives and options for you to connect your data, and that's why we're so excited. We're just essentially making it easier for customers to have access to this data. So with that, I'm going to actually pass the presentation over to Grady Drago, who's going to go through Dell Boomi, more information on Dell Boomi, how the connector works, and how you can kick off your instance and integrate our rates into your system.
Hi, thanks. Hi, everyone. I'm Grady. Before I start with a demonstration of showing an integration between the OANDA API and SAP, I want to give you a little bit of a background on our Dell Boomi, the company, our platform, the benefits, if you're not already a user. We'll go over those quickly, and then we'll go through a quick example of the value proposition of why to use our platform and what an integration would look like, again, between the API and SAP. So to start, Dell Boomi is, since 2010, has been one of the 7 technology companies owned by Dell. Before that, we were an independent cloud iPaaS company. Dell, realizing the value proposition and uniqueness of Boomi, bought us in 2010. We continue to be a leading iPaaS integration platform as a service provider product from, as stated by Gartner and Forrester. We have the breadth of customers and partners, implementation partners, technology partners, etc., to provide an excellent base for our product. And we have presence in all different verticals, different levels from enterprise to small and medium business. So we've tackled the smallest to the largest integration needs. And again, just like the OANDA API is a critical source of information and a critical platform, so is the Boomi platform. So the Boomi is our company name, but it's also our name of our platform, and there's different parts to our iPaaS integration platform as a service platform. We have the core capabilities of integration and API management. We also handle EDI, data mastering through our hub product, And we also have a visual interface workflow solution that is cloud-based. All of these parts of our platform are cloud-based, and some of them also, as we'll see, such as our Boomi Atom, which is the runtime for our core integration product, can run on a distributed architecture. So while we realize that many of our customers are indeed focused on cloud deployments, on-premise and other infrastructures are not going to go away. So we need to be able to span and basically be the integration mesh, business process mesh across all those different infrastructures. So let's talk a little bit for a second about the benefits of our product. So the Boomi platform is about configure, not code, and we'll visit that a couple times in the presentation. So what this means is that we're able to create an industrial strength integration, whether it's a batch integration, real time, creating API services. We're able to do this with configuration versus code. What this does is allows you to take your IT workforce and have any level of skilled worker be able to quickly configure integrations using our product. So it improves your ability to leverage your workforce, build integrations more rapidly, lower the cost of maintenance going forward. And we hear back from our customers, you'll hear this a couple times, especially compared to coding-based solutions, that we can build integrations in a sixth of the time. It's important to realize while we were born in the cloud and our focus is that we provide a cloud native architecture, we do provide the best SLA in the industry, have excellent uptime, and the platform will provide you with the robustness and availability that is warranted given the OANDA data that you'll be interacting with. Another important benefit of our platform is our broad enterprise connectivity. So as we saw in a previous slide, we're able to connect to any type of technology or application inside of your ecosystem, whether it's API-based, a traditional database, file system, file server, you name it, we can support connectivity to it. And we do this all through the unified platform with the different capabilities that I mentioned earlier, but they all share a common interface and a common design paradigm that allows very rapid learning of the platform, and then skills can be interchanged between the different parts of the platform. So it serves well for the individual use case we'll be talking about today, but also just much broader integration and business process integrations that you would expect from a iPaaS platform. So let's talk for a second about the infrastructure aspect and the architecture aspect of our product. So many of our customers, as you can imagine, are cloud first companies, meaning that they're focused on first deploying to cloud. And in this case, I'm sure showing on the slide how Boomi can support a purely cloud-based application set. Here we have what we call our Atom, which is our runtime engine that's running from within our Boomi cloud. It could also be running from any Linux or Windows server in iPaaS or IaaS environment or hosted on the internet. And from that Atom, we're able to connect and perform the needed integration and business logic between, in this case, OANDA and SAP. However, we find that, again, the world's not as simple as being all cloud. We also provide the ability to deploy our runtimes locally on customers on-premise in their data centers. And again, now we can still, from that architecture, still connect OANDA and SAP wherever it may exist, including connecting SAP to on-premise or back to cloud. So any type of integration across cloud and on-premise, and indeed hybrid is the common expression. We support any pattern. So the value proposition there is you have one platform to perform any type of integration development. So what's important is the agility. So the OANDA APIs, customers might decide that they want to try to write those using Java or some other or a scripting language. And I think we all know that while we have people in our organizations that can do that, for them to be able to do it reliably, it's usually the better developers. The idea here is that there's a better way to do this. The integrations that I'm showing here are just for the SAP connection. But again, through Dell Boomi, the configuration of an integration is all done through a drag and drop interface. So some of the pages shown in code above would actually be many pages, and probably we find from customers would take at least several weeks, even if the integrations have been done before. But with the Boomi platform, we can build these same integrations in 6 or less of the time. And this is done through the interface shown below. The circle we're showing here, this shows an actual integration that's going to take data from OANDA, apply some business logic, do some data transformation on the data, and then deliver that data to SAP. And what we're showing here is actually a production level integration. So it's not oversimplified at all. And this integration would be able to be built by a skilled developer and put into QA for test probably within a day. So we start on the left here, pulling our data from OANDA. The flow moves from left to right. This section here is where we would again apply business rules, map data, do transformation on the data, and then finally the last block here, this last shape, so as we call it, is where we deliver that data to SAP in the appropriate method. And we support any of the integration methods for SAP. In this example, we'll be going through using BAPIs. So in the next steps here, I'm going to show you how our abstraction of the connectors provides value. And again, in normal integrations, these are connectivity is where there is a lot of risk and expertise required beyond just implementing business logic. And again, the point of the platform here is to allow developers of any level to focus their attention and effort on just business logic implementation. And again, the point there is to allow them to focus more on other projects, have time free to focus on other projects, and actually innovate more for the business. So again, as with the rest of the platform, it's configuration driven, point and click. So in setting up a connection to OANDA, what we're going to do here is we're going to start with selecting one of the object types, which represents data available through the OANDA API. We're going to select one, in this case, currencies. Selecting currencies is going to then go out and bring metadata back from OANDA, and it's going to provide us the metadata that we need to be able to build our filter, which is going to determine what data we extract from the OANDA API. So at the end of this, we take the logic that's appropriate for our use case and create the filter criteria that's going to extract the data. In here, we have some static values. We also have the ability to dynamically pick values such as the date and time from the last run, etc. So it's very powerful, very flexible for how you can configure this. And again, we can run this on any schedule. So in this case, it's actually more expensive to build and maintain the connectivity to, in this case, SAP. But again, we simplify it through another similar process. Once we've defined the credentials, which are actually reusable, in this example, we now can define the data exchange and actions that we take against the SAP instance. And here we define that we're talking to SAP through a BAPI RFM interface. And then we, again, similarly build a filter here that's going to define how we map data and interact with the SAP BAPI, which again is basically a stored procedure. So again, building out the needed parameters that are passed to the BAPI is something that can be statically or dynamically defined and saved, and then in the future as needed, any of the things that we've shown so far with this integration can easily be modified and deployed. So not to trivialize, but it's truly that simple. A user would be able to download Boomi. If you were doing an evaluation within 20 minutes, you can have a Boomi integration up and running. You would then be able to access the OANDA connector for the exchange rate API, and you would be able to build a process much like the one that I showed you and have it running in no time. Again, why use Dell Boomi? It's because our reliability. We have 7,000 plus customers trusting us for the data volumes that they run through, the reliability that they need, which is evidenced by our SLA, the agility that we bring to your organization for OANDA related integrations and any other integration. The fact that we provide a single platform that covers API management, basic integration at any latency. So we cover a number of technical use cases around your most any of your needed business processes. So again, we have the broad connectivity that will work for any applications you have in your organization. Our cloud platform has certifications that will make the platform usable, and again, in any use case. And we have other baked-in advantages that are differentiators for Boomi, such as AI-based accelerators, and we also have business-level solutions that will give you starting points for any of the integrations that you might want to create. So kind of in summary, a very agile, productive environment. We have the connectivity and capabilities that future-proof our platform in your environment. And we also have the reliability and compliance that will allow you to trust our platform in the long term.
Actually, we have some questions that have come up during the presentation that we're going to go through. Thanks, Grady, for that. Appreciate it. We'll start with a few questions that came up during the presentation. If you have additional questions, please feel free to send them via the chat function. So the first question we had is, how long will it take to get up and running from the time to get that I purchased the API from OANDA?
I can take that question. So what we've seen in the past is if the integration is done without any solution such as Dell Boomi, it can take anywhere from weeks to months. But with Dell Boomi, customers can now shorten this process to anywhere from hours to weeks. And in order to get our API key, you can quickly go through a registration process on our website. It can take only a few minutes at most. And during the process, we'll ask you to provide us some basic information as well as the payments information.
Okay, thank you. And the next question is, what are the different OANDA plans available, and what are some of the different features associated with those plans?
Yeah, I can take that. This is AJ. So we actually have 3 official tiers, and these are based on feature availability as well as your use case, and that's basic, advanced, and custom. So with basic, you're entitled to up to 100,000 quotes per month. You'll get your daily and period high, low, and average candles, and these are going to return your bid, ask, and your midpoint. for more than 200 currencies and metals, and you're going to get email support there. This is for internal use only, so no redisplaying or powering an application, and I think the most standard use case we see here is financial reconciliation. The retail price for that is $4,500 a year. Advanced plan, this is going to come with unlimited quotes per month. We're also going to give you access to 25 central bank exchange rates. We'll give you 2 free seats to our historical currency converter with unlimited use. That alone is a $1,500 value. We'll also allow you to edit the contract a little bit and give you direct phone and email support. The retail price for that is $8,500 a year. And lastly, our custom plans. These are what are really going to power the external use cases, such as powering applications, redisplaying our rates. And these are highly flexible contracts designed around your specific use case and your needs for that. So that's going to be a much more high-touch, white glove experience. And we're going to price those accordingly for you.
Thank you. So then the next question is, you mentioned that you only offer daily average rates for the Dell Boomi platform. Are you going to make real-time rates available on Dell Boomi in the future? The answer to that, as I mentioned earlier, is actually we right now are planning just daily average rates, and we're gonna that use case is typically for the ERP system. So we're using our FX exchange rates connector to connect into your ERP. We will be looking into and considering and likely launching the real-time rates on the Dell Boomi platform in the future once we gauge demand. So it is planned, depending on kind of the demand that we see from customers within the platform and the use cases. The last question we have here, we are not on Dell Boomi. Can we still use the API? The answer to that is yes. We have a website here you can go to actually generate the API key. If you do that, it's just you have to go through the hurdle of integrating it on your own based on the technical documentation that we provide on the site. But yes, the API is available and can be utilized either with or without Dell Boomi. But hopefully with Dell Boomi, it'll make it easier to do that. I wanted to mention one more time that thank you for participating. We are going to be offering a 20% discount on your first year plan if you do sign up for a data plan prior to March 31st of this month. We look forward to hearing from you. If you have additional questions and concerns, please follow up with us. We'll send this presentation out to all the attendees, and we look forward to hearing from you. And that will conclude our presentation for the day.